Hi, everybody. Welcome to the KPRC 2 Plus Sports Podcast. Great to have you with us. Randy McElvoy, sports director here at KPRC 2, alongside sports anchor, sports reporter from KPRC 2, Chancellor Johnson. Hey, we are venturing into new territory here. We are really happy to launch this podcast.
We always have some scorching hot takes and just some great information to share as well. We can't wait to share with all of our insiders at KPRC 2 Plus.
Man, it is a really busy time, Chancellor. We're in July now. We're just weeks away from football camps. We've got the Astros right now, about to hit the All-Star break and doing the damage they're doing right now in the AL West. That's been a lot of fun, but today, at least on this first one, we're going to have fun talking some Rockets. And here in a few minutes, a little bit of conversation with Rockets head coach Stephen Silas.
The person that everybody's talking about the most out of these rookies is Tari Eason, the
Really?
number 17 pick. He's been special
He
to
has.
start off. And then late in the first round, Ty Washington Jr. So far, Rafael Stone, it's Summer League, right? Summer League is Summer League. You don't want to have too many overreactions, but all three have looked the part so far in this early part of this NBA offseason.
Yeah, you get your first look post-college on, okay, what can these guys do? Because I wasn't really a Chet Holmgren fan. I mean, I know he had a great career at Gonzaga, but I just look at him, it's like, man, that guy needs to eat about 8 or 10 hamburgers and add about 30 pounds, and maybe he will, but we'll see how he holds up. But, man, I really like this Jabari Smith Jr. pick by the Rockets.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, to be fair, early on in this first couple of games, he didn't shoot the ball well. But to me, what stood out is even offensively when he didn't have it working, defensively, he was amazing. You saw what everybody really liked about him offensively, and that's his jumper. Now, once again, he didn't shoot it well, but you can tell he has a pretty stroke, and over time, that shot will come. And I'm excited to see him. When you see him with the rest of the main guys, the Jalen Greens, the Kevin Porter Jr.'s, and Alfred Şengün, I think he'll look great. And I think, and I'm sure you'll talk about it, and you have talked about it with Stephen Silas, but defensively, how much better the Rockets will be, I think that'll start with Jabari Smith next year.
Well, I mean, defense was not their specialty. I mean, they struggled. If you look at the rankings in the NBA last year, defensively right there towards the bottom. They may have been at the bottom. They showed flashes, but overall, this team hurt defensively, and that had to be on the mind of Rafael Stone and Stephen Silas. Like, how can we improve these, the guys we have, and what newcomers can we get to improve this defense? But it starts there. The youth is one thing, but it's like, come on, guys, you got to play defense.
You got to play defense.
Yeah.
And
you got to want to play defense.
You have to want, and that's half of the battle when it comes to defense there. But not only Jabari Smith Jr., but Tari Eason. There's actually a moment in game number 1 when they were playing the Orlando Magic with Paolo Banchero, where Tari Eason is guarding Banchero. Jabari Smith Jr. walks over and says, "Hey, I got him," and Tari Eason's like, "No, let me have him." So these guys want to play defense. I love that. So it's like when you have guys arguing who wants to guard the best player, that will take the right step in the right direction moving forward towards the next season. And look, it's going to be a young team next year, and they'll have to grow together. There will be some growing pains, but I'm excited to see the Rockets kind of round into form.
Start taking steps in the right direction. You can't get it overnight and in one off season, but as long as you're projecting that direction, I think that's what Stephen Silas wants, and frankly, I think it's what Stephen Silas needs. I mean, he needs to show, and I'm a firm believer that Silas is the guy. I think he brings everything. He's had to deal with a lot these first couple of years. You've got to give him time for these kids to grow up.
Yeah, to your first point about wanting to see progress, I think Timur Fertitta just heard your comment, stood up, and gave you a standing ovation. He wants to see the same thing.
Yeah, love the attitude. Love what we're seeing so far. In this first several days of the Summer League out in Las Vegas. It will continue now with a couple more games for the Rockets. Hey, right now we want to get to, he's been out in Vegas. We're talking about Stephen Silas, checking things out there. He's been in the crowd. He's been interviewed on some of the broadcasts as well. And we had a chance this week to spend just a few minutes, not a long time. He's a busy guy out there. But with the head coach, Stephen Silas, here's a little bit of our conversation. With the head coach himself, Stephen Silas, checking in from Vegas. Stephen, good to see you, man. I know it has been a busy offseason for all you guys, especially since Summer League play began there in Las Vegas. You're getting an up-close look at some of your new guys and the vets are there as well. As a coach, you got to be really happy about that.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I mean, usually you have a few guys come in as far as the vets, and then you're evaluating the rookies and the other guys who are on the team or the second-year players. We have a few second-year players on the Summer League team, but we've had the whole roster here in Las Vegas for a majority of the time. So it's been really, really good to spend time with the whole group, not just the young guys.
I know a lot of fans would be interested in you and I. We're talking as well about since the season ended. People will think, oh, they're on break, they're doing this and that. I mean, the work never stops, does it? Especially for you and your coaching staff, because these guys have been cycling in here to the workouts here in Houston as well and keeping you guys very busy.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a day. Maybe there was like a week after the season, but there hasn't been a day during the summer that we haven't had at least probably the minimum of 2 players at the Toyota Center. So it's been really, really good. We've had certain windows where we've had 12, 13, 14 guys in Toyota Center, and then it can die down a little bit. But yeah, we've had guys in the gym all summer long, whether it's, the younger guys with Jayshawn Tate and Scoot and Jalen, or the older guys like Eric Gordon's been in every day. So, and he's here in Vegas the whole time. So it's been really, really good.
What message does that send, not only you and your staff, but just the organization and fan base? These vets are out there. They're wanting to put in the work in Las Vegas while the rookies and the Summer League plays in action as well. But here they are. They could be relaxing somewhere, but they're there working. They want to work. They want to improve, and they want to keep the direction of this organization going in an upward way.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. I mean, it speaks a lot to the culture that we're establishing here. It speaks a lot to the people that we have as far as the players for sure, but also the staff, because we spend so much time together during the regular season. You usually do get a little bit of a break from each other during the summertime, but we enjoy each other. We enjoy each other's company, but they also trust us that we can help them get better. And we are very much about improvement, and having these guys in all summer long, we've gotten a lot of work done to where they've really been improving their individual game, their bodies, and a lot of like connectivity as far as them off the court. So it's been good to see that they're so committed to our organization, to our coaching staff, and to the Rockets fans for sure.
Tell me a little bit about what you've been seeing out there in Las Vegas, up close and personal with some of these Summer League games, and watching Jabari, Atari, Ty, and a lot of these other guys. But fans are really excited, especially about these 3 guys you got in the first round. What have you seen from them in Summer League play that excites you the most?
Yeah, I mean, people should be excited about our young guys. Starting with Jabari, he is when you don't really get a feel for how tall he is until you're next to him, but he is tall and long and skilled and has a little bit of an edge to him, which I love, which is great. And he's a two-way player. He's not just a shooter. He's not just an offensive player. He really gets after it on the defensive end and tries and competes. And that's special to have, especially from such a young kid. And then Tari Eason is very similar in that he's a two-way player, really gets after it on the defensive end, uses his defense to create offense for him as far as getting out in transition. And then he's shown some ability to drive the ball into the paint and finish. And the other thing that I wasn't, you only see so much, but the rebounding part from Tari has been really, really fun to see. And that's something that usually can carry over from Summer League to regular season. And then Ty, he just knows how to play both ends of the floor. He's in the right spots. He's getting guys organized. Today we were talking about his communication. He's like, yeah, I just need to talk more. And I was like, well, you need to learn what to say first, and then you can talk more. But that's a great attitude for him because he's not thinking about himself. He's thinking about helping his teammates. So, yeah, those 3 guys have been really fun to watch in Summer League.
When you're watching these, Stephen, do you already, even though we're here in a Summer League, do you start envisioning, okay, well, I can pair maybe Jabari with Şengün and start circulating in your mind some possible combinations that could work for you this season?
Absolutely. It's been torture sitting on the side because I'm so used to being in the mix. But I'm letting my assistant coaches do their thing, and this is an opportunity for them, especially Rick Higgins, who's coaching the team, to learn and grow and have an opportunity to be the head coach and make mistakes, but also make some really good plays and do some good things for the group. So yeah, it's been really hard sitting over there during the games, but to answer your question, I do see a lot of things that we can do with this group, especially defensively, because it's all three guys, and then Josh Christopher, who's played well in the summer league. Those guys can really get after it on the defensive end, and that's the thing I've been harping on since the end of last season as far as our improvement defensively. And a lot of it can be scheme and all the tape study I've been doing this summer, but it usually is the who, and we have the who now.
That's great. It's very exciting. Hey, I want to ask you, Stephen, you got 2 years under your belt as a head coach. Going into season 3 now, you took over during the COVID year. That was a crazy season. You had a bunch of young guys last year. What have you learned most about yourself in these first 2 years as a head coach that you feel like you're going to carry now into year 3? And from that regard, just as you can continue to say, setting that culture and the expectations with your guys.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things. Being a head coach is very different than being an assistant coach, which I was for 20 years. There's just so much more, and you're really thinking so much more big picture. And I have a tendency of looking at the details and making sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted. And there's times where you have to really pull back and think about, the group as a whole and the staff and the communication between the assistant coaches and the players and the assistant coaches and the staff and working with Rafael and his group. So there's just a lot more to it, and carrying that forward, making sure that there's a togetherness within everybody in our organization where they feel invested, but also understand where we're at as a group, where we're really thinking about improvement and playing hard and putting out a good product for the fans to enjoy, so that when it's time for us to knock on the door of the playoffs or win a playoff series, and even further, the foundation is set for that. So right now it's setting a foundation. It has been a kind of crazy last couple of years, but I'm couldn't be happier than to be the head coach of the Houston Rockets, and I'm really looking forward to this coming year for sure, and the future. You
feel like you're growing a lot, even though you've got to have 20 years on the bench and being around the game, you're learning from your dad and all that brought. But do you feel like in the self-assessment you've learned so much of what it takes to be a head coach?
Yeah. You can't help but learn when you're thrown into the fire. And obviously we've had a lot of change since I've been here. So dealing with change, dealing with adversity has definitely sped up the learning curve for me. And it's been a really, really good experience. But like I was saying earlier, it is so much about the people you're working with, Rafael, Patrick, Tillman, and then the players, and making sure that we're all on the same page and being that person who can kind of make it easy for everybody. So, I've learned a ton tactically. I've learned a ton as far as myself and my ability to fight through adversity and bring people together through adversity. And hopefully that continues.
Before we let you go, you've been hanging out in Vegas. You probably love that 115-degree heat out there, right? You probably staying indoors as much as possible, or what?
Yes, it's so hot outside, but it's freezing inside. So I have long sleeves on now because I'm inside, and then outside it's the 111 degrees. But we're enjoying our time here. We've had some team dinners, which have been enjoyable, and spending time in the meal room downstairs, just chopping it up with the players and the staff. It's gone quickly, and it should be an exciting finish to Summer League for us.
Absolutely. Hey, Stephen, we really appreciate the time. Enjoy the rest of the offseason. I know you don't have a lot of free time. Get a little break. And, hey, we're going to blink, and before we know it, it's going to be camp time. It's in time for another season. But always enjoy the conversation, talking some Rockets basketball with you.
Thank you so much.
All right, great conversation with head coach Steven Silas. Thanks to Rockets head of PR Tracy Hughes for making that happen as well. But I know he's been enjoying watching these guys and watching some of these guys on the other teams as well that he knows he's going to have to prepare for when this season gets going coming up in November. Man, it's hard to believe we're going to blink and it's going to be here.
Yeah, clearly he's enjoying himself on a little bit of a vacation as well too. But of course, the talks is hoops there and how he wants to see the team get better.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys talk defense as well. He's high on the guys with like Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, and Ty Washington Jr., and so am I.
You will see myself, you'll see Chancellor, you'll see Ari off and on during the course each and every week. We'll mix it up a little bit, and we'll have guests and all that kind of good stuff. So make sure you make an appointment viewing on KPRC2 Plus and click2houston.com. Thanks for checking out first podcast here on KPRC2 Plus. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good stuff.